right, we're back and hopefully better than ever.
We're here. We made it.
We've made it. After a real tough 24 hours, maybe the 24-hour rule needs to be implemented here. We think about it for 24 hours and move on. I'm your host, Nathan Bond. Alongside me, as always, Seth Varnadore. Welcome to it's going to be a fun edition of the Daily Stampede Film Room as we review the South Florida Bulls 31-28 loss at Florida. And you're thinking, well, how could a loss be fun? We will get to it. But appreciate everybody jumping on, joining alongside, and just it's always fun to kind of dissect and give a little breathing room to our initial reactions and kind of see what's what and what may have been or what could have been. And I think we'll see a lot of fun stuff from this offense and some stuff from the defense that makes you think, oh, okay, maybe the corner is being turned here.
Yeah, I thought, and I said it yesterday, it was famous last words, that this is going to be the most fun, I thought, film review that we'd done live. We'd had some fun ones when we were recording in the past that were pretty good, but from a schematic standpoint, this game is, I think, definitely the Jeff Scott era, the most like wide-ranging amount of scheme and interesting wrinkles and creativity that I've seen from him yet. And that a lot of that probably has to do with Trickett, but just kind of that seen from one of his teams. There's a lot more creativity than normal, and I think that helped. You could really see the plan, and it was a really good plan, and they executed it really well. So from a scheme standpoint, it's a lot of fun stuff, and it was not so fun if you were a Florida Gator defender. They had them kind of in a blender during that game. So
look at you rhyming.
I came up with that last night in my purgatory. I had no internet, so I could do nothing.
Yeah, Seth was without internet until close to midnight last night, and then
went out at 8:58,
right before go live. And then I got a message from my wife that the power's out. So that was fun. Luckily, it's back, and we're in it. So let's jump in to the first play here. Seth, what can you tell us about this play as we set it up?
So we've got a 3rd and 5 here. We'll leave this down there. We're looking good. 3rd and 5 here. Early, I think this is first drive, I believe. And thanks to Lib Gator for condensing this game and having it all cut up. With travel, it was tough to kind of get the game cut up. So this has every play on it. So that was cool. So thanks to them for doing that. But you kind of just working the backside. They wore out the boundary. And this is something, if you follow us on Twitter, we were talking about this really early in the game. They were wearing out the boundary in the throw game and in the run game. So here you just kind of have the one-on-one to Weaver. He wins. It's man coverage. He steps on the brakes there, and the DB slips, and easy gain there for a first down.
Real quick, as we get deeper, because I think we're going to say field and boundary quite a bit. We usually do. For new listeners, Seth, real quick, can you kind of diagram the field, the boundary, what makes those two things kind of be a thing?
So when the ball's on a hash, right here, the ball's on the right hash. The boundary is the short side of the field. So in college, the hashes are different than the NFL. The NFL, the hashes are a lot closer, so you don't really get as much field and boundary stuff. Where one side of the field is much wider. So this side is the field side. It's a much bigger side. So you'll see sometimes teams over-rotate to that side, or they'll put certain defenders back into the boundary, which is, I think, what Florida does a little bit and what USF was kind of hoping for. It seemed like they schemed up some of Florida's guys pretty good, just their personnel and how they played. But the field is the wide side. So if you hear me say the field, I'm talking about the wide side of the field, and the boundary is the short side. So there's more room up top than there is down bottom here. But USF almost, not exclusively, but about 70% of the time ended up running to the short side of the field, where I think Florida was a little outnumbered. So really good scheme and good design to kind of see that on film and then come in and take advantage of it. So let's get to the next play. So this was just there's if you haven't shown a lot of quarterback run, right? And we talked about it last week before the game. When are they going to break out the quarterback run? This is a guy that we think can do it. And the limited runs they gave him, and some of them were even scrambles. In like the limited time you saw him running, you're like, this guy's athletic. And then you look back at his his off-season speed test, and he's over 20 miles an hour. You're like, this guy can go. So why aren't they using him more in the run game? Well, they busted it out this week, and I do not think Florida was prepared for it to start the game. So here you got a pin pull play, and this is like really, really well done. So when you pin pull, this was a staple of like the Peyton Manning Colts. Love this play. You're going to down block right here because you got a good angle, and then I'm just going to pull around and become a lead blocker. And then I don't think Florida was ready for this wrinkle because I think you get this. I don't think they were ready for the wrinkle of the back coming as well, right? Because they hadn't seen quarterback run. They're not prepared for the extra blocker. So now watch this play. I don't know if I get the back view of it, but this is just really good. Bang, right there. This is pin pull, but it's really kind of a fold. It's just a quick fold block where this guy's going to block down. He's going to wrap around. Good angles, right? That's a great angle. Easy. Makes an easy block for the tight end. You see these guys getting up to the second level here because Florida's, I think this is the boundary issue. They're misaligned. So you don't have, if you just look, if you include the center over, look how many more bodies USF has over here than Florida does. Florida's got 5. USF has more if you include the center as well, right? So fold, perfect block here. Your receiver's going. Now, Florida, if this is a handoff, Florida's got a guy coming, a safety to come down and make the play. But it's not, right? It's quarterback run. So now I got a blocker for the safety. You get a great block. And really a pretty good effort from the backside is the only thing that runs this thing down, right? The backside end kind of comes back and runs it down. But you still get a huge play here. And that's just all great design, giving yourself good, easy angles for your tight ends. Down, fold, lead blocker, really, really good stuff.
Is that Mikey Dukes there, or is that Jaron Mangum?
I think that's Mangum. This is
okay. So this is early enough in the game. Okay.
Yeah, this is first drive, I believe. So just really good stuff. Good cut off the block too by Gary. He's obviously a good runner. Like he can read it. He's tough. Here's the turnover. So the idea is you like motion. This is another thing USF did a lot, which going back and having to do a review on the Florida side as well, Florida had a lot of problems with this motion. So USF's game plan was perfect for kind of what Florida has on defense experience-wise, and where positions where they have young guys, right? So this was a really good game plan with motion. But what does motion tell you? Motion kind of tells you
man or zone,
right? Coverage. So they kind of have a good idea. It looks like it's man coverage, right? So a screen is a good call here. Florida does a pretty good job. You're going to be here, and he's hoping just to kick. He doesn't get held as much here, and the ball's a little high. If the ball's a little lower, like if he can just put this on him right here, he can catch it and maybe get up in that funnel because he's coming here. So if he just gets flat right in there, he can get up in that funnel right there. Ball's a little high. That kind of messes up your path for your tackle. Now here, you make 2 guys miss, which is great, but then you hit the ball, and the replay angle, you can see he hits the ball like off his own knee or his own leg there. That was really an unforced error, and that's kind of the theme of the bad stuff for USF is mostly unforced errors. It was not like Florida just dominated them and ripped the ball and took it away. It was really a lot of giveaways. But that's the idea for the first play. Now, later in the game, they hit this screen for a really good for like a 10 or 15-yard gain, I think. So just want to show it here, the idea of it first, right? Get the defense flying to the play action, come backside here. Because in zone, you don't block this guy anyway. Like you usually let him go anyways, and he's held by the quarterback. So you can kind of really get out there maybe without him noticing. A better ball here is probably a better play, but still right here, if you can just hold on to the ball, you got a chance to pick up 5 or so on first down, and it's not a bad play. All right, so here's some of the fun stuff. This is where you start to get in the read element. Florida actually plays this one pretty well, but it's bash, so it's back away. So right here, backs away. They actually come and crack this, and he's leading the back. Florida's alignment is, I think, a little bit different than they were expecting. They might have expected him to be wider, and now I can read him. But he's inside, so it's a little bit different than they're expecting. You're almost reading him, really, but I don't think that's what Bohannon was doing. Because right here, if you're reading him, you'd keep it. But this is the guy that's usually the read, so he's probably has his eyes there. So all you're looking at is basically what does that read guy do? Because here I've got this block here. You're hoping he's arcs for him and you're reading this guy, but the way Florida lined kind of hurts the play a little bit. But still, you got him going outside and all the quarterback's reading is backside. The line is blocking this way. So the line is blocking for Bohannon to keep it. That's why it's called back away, because the scheme is actually down here and the back is going this way. So if you're bash, that means back away. And then you have this lead blocker for the back. So he gives it, which based on what his initial read was, is not a bad read, but that's why Florida has like a couple extra guys here. And they play this all right. But Batti's still able to break that first tackle and make this a positive play. But this is something that's tough. I don't think they've showed this a lot. So this is something that's tough to adjust to. And you'll see as the game goes, they run this like 3 or 4 different ways, right? This is the play right here, the boot wheel, right? A lot of times you'll run this boot and you're trying to get like a corner, a flat, and you'll have a trail guy here maybe and a deep crosser. That's how it looks a lot, right? I'm not sure I don't know if they got to the corner. I think he just went, right? I think Weaver just goes vertical. And then he turns this into a wheel where we used to run something like this where we'd run a vertical and then we run a wheel right behind the go route. And we would call it trail just because you want to trail that receiver as you're kind of in his wake there. Right. So you see Florida with the motion. This is again with motion. This guy's chasing big time, trying to catch up. So they may be in some type of man. You see the safeties coming down the other side. And this is one where it's a tough throw because you got to throw this thing on the run and throw it almost before he turns, really. All right, look when Bohannon's throwing this. He hasn't turned his head yet. So with this guy closing, you got to throw it a little early. But a good job just giving him a catchable ball, holds him up, and you convert another first down here. But this is one later they get that should have been really big, that it's hard to tell if it was just a little long or if the receiver maybe should have put 2 on it. So this is another thing they ran a ton where they're bringing 2 from the opposite side, running counter, and then they're reading it with the quarterback as well. This is something Oklahoma really popularized with Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts. I think even Baker Mayfield would get some of it, but it's just a tough scheme to read. And it makes the defense take on pullers, which Florida has shown in the past, right? What if you went back to the LSU game last year? LSU ran counter down their throat. Texas A&M game 2 years ago ran counter down their throat. They couldn't stop it. They have a couple guys that have shown really poor ability in taking on pullers. So this was definitely something USF saw in film and incorporated into their game plan. You see right here, watch DeMontre Jacobs. This guy was a 5-star in high school. Thinks of himself as a draft pick. He's got all the physical talent, but watch DeMontre Jacobs here. This is called washing somebody down the line of scrimmage. He's out of the play. You got your 2 pullers here. Your first guy, you like to be kind of a kick. Second guy, a wrap if you can. So kick out this first guy, wrap for the second guy. And this is on 3rd and 18 here. Good job by the tight end here getting back to the backside backer. You get a kick, you get a wrap, and then Batti did an awesome job all night of understanding where his blockers were going and understanding when to cut and not cutting too early. He really kind of let them get into it. And there's one later that I think he scores on, but they mark him down, that he really does a good job of letting that happen very quickly, but letting that come through, let the blocker hit, and then just cut right off of it. So he does that here. And then Florida safety needs to come up and make a play. He can't, but he's probably a little too fast. But great cut right here, good blocking, and he doesn't get touched. I mean, it's 3rd and 18. I don't think he gets touched till he hits like 17 yards, and he ends up picking up about 20. So really good design there on a counter play. This type of stuff, right? I thought Florida would do this to give USF's defense the problems. USF really kind of gave Florida a taste of their own medicine from the first couple of games, shifting and motioning, and Florida could not handle it very well. This is a good job. So you're running like you're running a mesh concept. They bring the corner blitz. So he's got to pick him up, man. So if he's coming out to the flat, that should widen this area. You've got him coming across here. He's going to the middle of the field. He's coming across. If it's man, you're hoping somebody's caught in the wash. Good job by Bohannon stepping up away from the pressure, dropping it off. Now, it's not a ton, but you're at 1st and 15, and now you're at 2nd and manageable after this play. Get yourself to 3rd and 3. Again, you got this is just like quarterback wide zone, but Florida was not kind of ready for this, right? You see motions coming across again. So they're trying to figure out what they're doing on defense. They don't figure out till it's too late. Then you do a pretty good job. He kind of sneaks through, but Bohannon's able to make a nice stiff arm here, keep him off of him, and get you that 1st down, even with a guy unblocked.
I mean, kind of a nice stiff arm. That dude's head snapped around. That was
That's pretty good. Right?
That was a pretty good one, man. That's top tier. That's S tier stiff arm right there.
Yeah. So if you can do that, if your quarterback can do that to the unblocked defender, you're probably pretty good in the quarterback run game. So I would expect to see more of that going forward. Again, you see motion. Watch how many times there's just as we're doing this. Watch how many times there's motion and runs into the boundary. I think so far, except for maybe that bash, every other run has been into the boundary. There's been motion on almost, again, besides that bash, motion on almost every play. Right here, motion gets Florida out of sorts again, right? Because I think they're trying to play some type of man. He's got him man, and they don't change assignments. He just follows him over, and then he bumps over there. So now you really have no B-gap player the way they're playing it. The end here does not squeeze, and I think they know he's not going to squeeze because he hasn't done it much. Watch DeMonte Jacobs right here. He goes in, gets him to squeeze a little bit, and then bumps him real quick before he climbs, and that kind of makes him swim move and widen the hole even more. Bang, bump him, watch him swim move. Thank you very much. This isn't the freestyle or the breaststroke. You just took yourself out of the play. Now Mangum's got a full head of steam taking on a safety that is not exactly coming downhill to meet him, right? That's a big dude getting loose right there.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of players who wants to see Jaron Mangum in the open field, 15 yards downfield while being untouched toward him.
With a full head of steam, like running right at you. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it. He makes a good tackle, but
20 yards. I mean, he got a 20-yard head start on him, man. I mean, impressive. He got leverage on him. But yeah, that's not a fun task.
And again, how many yards until the USF running back is touched? 20 yards downfield.
Yeah. So
right. They had Florida
15, 20, 25.
They had Florida all out of sorts with their motion and stuff. Then right here is a simple split zone. This is a great cut. I don't think I put the back view on here, but again, this guy, he's not a squeezer. He's not super physical in these pulls. But watch this the cuts here. I think Florida's trying to two-gap this. This is a great job getting that cut back, understanding where it's at, right? Vision, then once you get vertical, accelerate. And again, untouched.
I mean, that's a great double team at the second level too. Like, what was it is that Hall? Is that Cecil?
Yeah, so right here, you get the way this linebacker is so slow to react, you for a second get a triple team on Florida's best defensive lineman. Like, and there's not much you can do, and that's a tight triple team. This linebacker comes off late, but he also kind of gets set up. You see Batiste kind of pushing in the line of scrimmage. Looks like he may come out there, and then bang, he's vertical and gone, right? Thank you very much. He played an awesome game, and I think we talked about it a little bit on Tuesday with how you're using Bohannon in the run game. This might be the guy that needs to get the most carries to just complement it the best because he sees it really well, and he's so explosive. So he's your most explosive back. That's why you got him returning kicks. So it's just he played really well the other night. 250 yards all purpose, obviously, is pretty good. But Mikey Dukes played pretty well too. I put this on here just because this is pretty good jobs. I think this is just straight up zone. There's nothing super fancy here. But look at the cut here, right? And then back out, getting 5 or 6 there with just some good feet here in the backfield. Dexter gets some push, but Cecil's able to do kind of enough, and the back's able to read that helmet and cut back and then run through arm tackles, right? So that's what the best thing about zone and wide zone is. You can kind of, if your back knows how to read it, you can kind of mask some things, right?
Right.
So you get yourself into a 4th and 1. I think you call a timeout, right? You call a timeout. What are we going to do? Are they going to punt? They can't punt, right? They got to be going for it. Well, what they do is pull out like a perfect play call. So Florida's obviously in man coverage here. Okay, if they're in man coverage, they're going to go with the jet. We got our special decoy for the evening here, Jimmy Horn.
Probably the best decoy I've ever seen.
Florida was aware of who he was. I am certain of that. They know how explosive he is, so they're in some type of man coverage, I'd assume, but somebody forgets that the running back exists. So great job. And then opening, right, because a lot of teams will go jet under center, especially in these situations, jet under center, just to get these guys to try to widen a little bit, get backwards to widen, and then hit it up inside. So really smart to have him turn outside like they're running something in the A gap really tight, because a lot of times you'll see that when guys, if it's a B gap run or like between the guard and tackle here, you open right to it. But a lot of times when it's an A gap run between the guard and center on either side, that's the A gap. You want to make sure it's clear, so you'll reverse out so this guy has a straight path to it. Because if you go back, you may push him off his path, and now he's got to come back, right? So you don't like to do that if you can reverse out. So right here, they reverse out with it, make Florida think it's happening here in the A gaps, and then he just flips that thing out here. So that's really, really well designed here. All right, reverse out, make you think it's A gap. This guy squeezes down like crazy. Nobody. And here, nobody is going with the back. And they kind of this guy takes a really good angle and is able to catch him barely. But a big play on 4th and 1 here. And really just well designed, even just to which way is the quarterback going to turn, right? Because right here, too, that hides the ball as well, right? When his back's turned, that hides the ball. Did we give that? Are we running A gap here? You see him turn his shoulders this way, too. Get these guys to squeeze down. And now, even if this guy plays it perfectly here, it's still a foot race to the sideline, right? And he didn't play it perfectly. Now you got a dude that can go out in front there. So awesome play call there. Again, motion. So this is one where the motion screws up Florida. You see he's coming over with him in motion. If you're playing man coverage, what it certainly looks like Florida is, right? Then when he's right now before the motion, this backer that's right here bent over has the back. After the motion, right, and he had the tight end, right? After the motion, you see he's talking to him. They're communicating. He's saying, now you have the tight end. So now what should happen if you're Florida is we could both have the back, and if he goes this way, he's mine. If he goes this way, he's yours, right? That's what should happen. But the motion and Florida's lack of experience kind of at linebacker, they don't communicate that. So watch. He's thinking, I still got him, man. Thank you very much. And that's all because of the motion. So he's like, oh, he's coming to my side. I've got him, man. He goes, oh, that's my man. I've got him, man. And then watch this is something I've almost never seen. Right. He's supposed to get like here for a cutoff for this. He ends up getting all the way back and cutting him off from the quarterback, which is insanity. So, I mean, I should probably get more points for DeMontre Jacobs this week. That's all I'm saying. It probably should have been a 20-point game. But, he reads it. Great read. Florida's thinking, oh, it's counter again. Let me chase this down. The backside end's like, I'm chasing this counter down. Bohannon keeps it. There's nobody left for him because both your linebackers are over here chasing. And that was all because of the motion. So USF saw motion was an issue for Florida. And again, we're on the left hash, short side of the field. Where's the ball going? Short side. Little RPO here on the goal line. This one was close to being, I think, pass interference. He's got the hand on the waist. He does make a good play at the catch point. The ball's a little behind him. I think even with the hand here, if the ball is a little bit more out in front, Weaver probably still catches it. But could have been PI there. They decide not to call it. The next one, I think, is more definite. And USF does a nice little – this scheme has been run in this stadium 1,000 times. This was one of Spurrier's favorite goal line and low red zone type plays where they'd high-low. They'd sit somebody on a curl on the front of the goal line, get people to bite up on it, and then throw it to the back of the end zone, right? So you get a guy in the front and a guy in the back, and you just high-low it. Right here, they got it. You see he's got space to the back. Florida recognizes it late, but I think you will get a pass interference call if that ball is catchable. Now, this guy did a decent job of kind of turning back to it, so maybe that's why Bohannon has to throw it a little high. But I think if that thing's on target and gets there, it's probably an interference call. But we both, from our vantage point, thought it was probably uncatchable.
Yeah, that was kind of our initial reaction as we were talking to each other. It's like, oh, yeah, that was 4 feet over the guy's head. Yeah. There's no way they're calling that.
So then now that we see it here, it might have just been this guy kind of pulls off that. And so Bohannon's like, okay, if I throw it online, I might throw it right in this guy's face mask. So I'll miss. If I'm going to miss, I'm going to miss high. At least give my guy maybe a chance, and it's just too high. So you settle for a field goal there. All right, we got a little defensive action here. Everyone has nightmares from the BYU jet sweep. Well, guess what? They've got it figured out here. Great job of playing this thing. This is your corner on a tight end. Right? If you're Florida, you're like, all right, I got this seal. That should be good. I should be able to get out there. Now we're really moving. If he can just eat up this linebacker, I got my guy one-on-one with the safety, right? Watch how the corner plays it. Gets way out wide, strings it out, turns it back inside, right? We always talk about turning it back inside. Boyles wins his matchup with the back, turns it back inside, and then you got this great pursuit coming down the line. So a play that's pretty similar to the one that gashed you in the first game, right. You kind of turn that back in for a 2-yard gain there. And that happened earlier, and Florida got nothing on it. So
Jeff Scott kind of and Bob Shoop kind of praised what TJ Robinson was able to do at corner the last couple of weeks, and it was those kind of plays, the things that don't really show up in the stat sheet, right, where you're in the right position to let other guys make plays. That'll pay off eventually for him.
Yeah. Just do your job, right? And count on those other guys to do theirs. Yeah, and sometimes you got to turn it back into other people. You can't make every tackle.
Take heed of the Notre Dame game. Yeah. And who was it? The OC or was the defensive coordinator who was that? Tommy Reese?
Yes, that was the OC yelling at the quarterback. Yeah.
Do your effing job.
The whole team's counting on you. All right, relax, Tommy. Tommy, do you want to pull up the game tape, brother? This is a conversation he might have had with somebody when he was playing too. This one, I thought this was a great job. This thing turns back and watch. I think it's Greer, fully healthy. Avoid the guard getting up to the second level. A great job just filling the hole right here. Watch this in fast speed. Bang, turn it back to Greer. Thank you. 2-yard loss.
And so, another thing here, Jatorian Hansford's playing 3 technique, playing basically defensive tackle for the first time in his life. Eddie Kelly's next to him. So you've got basically two guys who haven't played much football in the positions that they're in at the collegiate level yet. Creating havoc, getting push.
Yeah, there's more from both of them later on. They both made some plays there with their inexperience, and I think Eddie Kelly, man, he doesn't look like a true freshman, does he?
No,
he's a grown man.
The way he was running around after Anthony Richardson was mighty impressive. And
yeah, we got one later. He's able to match his stop and start, and here's kind of a good example of it. So. One thing that they love to do at Florida and Napier loves to do is they will only naked, which means like the play action boot stuff without a lead blockers, and it's called a naked, right? Because you're just out there by yourself. They only naked to the quarterback's throwing arm. They said it at clinics. I saw them talk about it at a clinic. So like at Louisiana, it was always left. Florida, it's always right. Well, I think USF did a good job of understanding that and always playing this guy at the quarterback on the backside. Now, I think it may have opened up some stuff for zone, but they were always playing for that. And here's Eddie Kelly. He misses him there, but I don't know what he's doing.
Well, that was probably the easiest sack Mikhail Point's ever had his entire life.
And then the tight end's coming across thinking life's pretty sweet right now. And Greer just blows him up at the line of scrimmage, too. All right. So that's kind of, if Florida's trying to get something similar, get him in the flat and then leak him behind. Greer does a good job of just blowing this thing up. He got nowhere to go with the ball. Doesn't throw it out of bounds. And Mikhail Point gets some extra fantasy love points. Here's a screen. If Florida can get Boyles blocked here, they got an okay play on. But watch Boyles. They're trying to get to him. Nope, he sees it. No, sir. Runs flat down the line, makes a play for 2 yards. This is where the penalty comes from.
Oh, God. Yeah. Is the penalty
No, it's not on here. Oh. They cut everything pretty quick. You can see them tussling. So you can see here.
Matt Hill basically throws this guy down like a rag.
He's engaged with the Hill. Then Hill tosses him. And really, I think the ref saw it out of the side of his eye and was like, oh, that one guy's standing over the other guy. He must have done something, which is really stupid. And not worth 4 points for sure. So, all right, here's the pick six. We're showing kind of everything, even the bad stuff. But you're just running double slant, and this is one where Jeff Scott talked about it, right? If if he's got inside leverage, I can't just run straight up field and then make my break because he's still got inside leverage, and that's what happens here. So when you're on offense, you got a couple advantages. One, you know what the snap count is. That's always helpful. You know when this ball is going to be snapped. You know where the play is supposed to go. So if I know I got to get in here, he doesn't know that. So what I can do is stem inside, run to his inside shoulder, and then get my leverage back. But if you let him keep the leverage inside, right, running routes is about gaining leverage to where you're supposed to be. Yeah. So if I let him maintain the leverage, this is what can happen. And now this guy makes a really good play on the ball. Like it's pretty bang, bang. He gets there right as. But imagine he's making this break and he's here. Well, now, especially with this is Holden Willis, with his big body out there, that guy's got to either come through him or he's going to make the catch, right? So just little things. And then this guy makes a really good play. Is this the right read? It is, right? You read this kind of inside out. So as soon as this guy comes inside, now I got all that room for this other slant behind there, right? So that's the right read. Maybe kind of a double clutch there, but I don't think that would have changed anything. Depending on when he threw it, this guy just makes a really good jump on it and takes it back. And that's really kind of the big difference in the game right there. If they don't have that, they kind of controlled the game, really. So they come back, get a little toss into the boundary again, a little pin pull. I thought they played really well obviously at the point of attack, but this pin pull stuff was pretty good. Here's just another way to do it. And you see Jacobs leading again. He had a great game. I'm sure he got on some radars after that one, but he's been on my radar all year. But you know what can I say? He's on the old fantasy team. So
yeah. So Froze, I don't know if you see the comments because you're full screen. Seth, you telling your QBs to throw this on time?
I mean, it does
that slant away.
Yeah, I think that's the extra hitch obviously doesn't help, but it's all slants. And I think the main issue is the leverage of the receiver. Because I'm sure he wants to throw it on time, but he sees that leverage. I don't know why he decided to throw it anyways. Like if you see something that's going to make you hitch, don't throw it. He probably would have been better off just tucking and running there. But yeah, no, that thing's got to you got to hit your step and get it out of your hand, especially on the quick game stuff. No hitching, no double hitching on your throws. If it's not there immediately, tuck it and run. And I'm sure that's something he'll do in the future, and he'll tell him that. But the initial phase was a little bit on the receiver, but you cannot hitch on quick game. That's how you get stuff taken back for 6. So now you got jet sweep. You're reading it. So just another bit of eye candy there. So this isn't quite bash because this is just zone read, but you add the jet sweep element in to kind of widen some guys. He doesn't really take the bait. He actually comes down for the zone and tries to adjust out, but he is totally lost. There's actually nobody out here. So you almost get like a lead blocker. And another good decision in the run game by Gary. Right. That's true. Like, and I'm sure they have something where he can throw off of this. And now you're running triple option football, basically. It just looks a lot cooler, right? Or it looks a lot more modern, but it's triple option football. I thought this was super important in the game. Bohannon's ability to scramble and get out of some of these 3rd and longs. I think that's why you're so successful on 3rd down. Florida, you see they're showing like 1 high here initially, and then I think they rotate to 2 high, and maybe even like a quarter half look, or just a straight quarters look. And then this is a great effort right here.
Right.
Florida safety comes up, and then he just keeps it churning and is able to stretch across and get the 1st down. Here's the pick play.
Sure.
This is just unnecessary here by Weaver, and you'll see how you didn't really need it because the way they play this, you probably could have got this guy coming just screaming across wide open. Again, motion. But watch Weaver. He almost sets like a basket. Like that's not even trying to hide it. But even if you don't do that, just look, if this is why you don't even need that contact. You can hear and then make him try to go underneath you, right? That's how we always taught it. Don't touch him. Just get it in their space and make them go underneath you and chase. Don't let him go over the top. So attack the outside hip here. Make him go under, because when he goes under, it's over, right? But you just can't. That's just kind of that's an easy. Is everybody going to call that? No. But if I'm looking for that, am I going to call that? Yeah. That's not even. You're not trying to run a route there. It looks like, right? It looks like you're setting a pick in basketball. And the most unfortunate thing is if he doesn't touch this guy and he covers it perfectly, look at this. That's kind of the next read on it. Look at him catching this thing full speed and maybe hitting the sideline. So that's just kind of a little bit of maybe you could say it's ticky-tack, but you can see why they called it. And it really wasn't necessary because I think you had a pretty good play on where you're going to get one of these guys. And I think he might be coming over the ball. So you had 2 guys coming wide open. One of them, a very fast guy on the run catching it. Could have been a pretty big play. So it wasn't really necessary. Was it egregious? No. But was it necessary? Was it needed? Not really. The most confusing thing to me is how late this flag is thrown and who throws it. That's what's weird. First of all, I don't know where it comes from. Like this guy off screen, I guess, throws it sky high because it just comes out of the heavens here. Drops down, but
nice little pitching wedge.
I get that he got to stop too. Look at that.
Yeah, that's it.
But so I thought that was the most odd thing about it. If this guy calls it, he should be seeing it. If he calls it, it makes sense to me. This guy calling it, I don't know. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but there is contact, and that was one that they announced initially as on Chris Carter. And they fixed it. I don't know if they fixed it on the broadcast, but it was charged on Weaver. They said it in the press box. I don't know if they announce that on the broadcast. So if you thought it was on Chris Carter, that would be super egregious.
Man,
but it was on Weaver.
The PA announcer in the press box was on another level.
Yeah, it was like a play-by-play announcer.
It was nuts.
Yeah, they weren't missing it. But yeah. So now you get 2nd and 21. The crazy thing is, I'm pretty sure you score on this drive. So you get 2nd 21. Florida's falling off. It's the end of half. They don't want to give up anything explosive. So all right, thank you. We'll take that. You pick up a nice gain on 2nd and 21. You get yourself in field goal position, kick the field goal, go to halftime. Here's your boy, Jordan Hansford, playing the 3-tech, right? He's trying to reach him and cut him off. Sometimes they'll even cut that. He can't get there because Hansford, I think an underrated move, right, that you pointed out, him at the 3-tech. With his athleticism, if Florida's running wide zone and they got to cut him off on the backside, well, that's a tough cutoff. The lineman can't get there, and he blows his play up, right? So that's kind of a bit of scheme, a bit of understanding your personnel and what their strengths are. Because if he gets blocked, I mean, Florida's got exactly what they want otherwise. But he does a great job blowing this play up, and you see Eddie Kelly back here for Richardson. So really interesting idea to put those two next to each other with their athleticism. And like I said, they're not small. Eddie Kelly looks pretty good out there. Hansford played in the SEC. He's a physical guy. He's not small either. So here you go. This one goes to Michaela Point right here, even though he doesn't get the play. Florida's running in like inverted smash. They ran smash earlier, normally with a hitch in a corner, for a pretty big play down the sideline in the first half. Corner jumps this, so now you have one-on-one with the safety. LaPointe does a pretty good job here. Richardson's eyes are here the whole time. He doesn't even try to hold it. And he starts to kind of get over the top of this early and cuts this off where Richardson doesn't want to throw it. I thought live and right out on the broadcast that he should have tried to rip it, but you can also see from the back view that LaPointe has inside leverage and would have the chance to drive on that ball. So LaPointe makes him pull the ball down here, and then Florida's got this dig coming back across. So Richardson should be like, cancel this. It's not there. Come hit this dig right in this hole right here. He's late because LaPointe kind of gives him a cloudy look. And then you also got Amaris Brown here kind of falling off. So he doesn't like the corner. So he thinks, okay, I'll come back to the dig now. Doesn't see Boyle sitting right there for it. Thank you very much. Then you got Matt Hill out in front blocking. Boyle's just about takes it in, but a big play that kind of, you go down, you get a field goal right before half, you come get this pick, it kind of starts to switch momentum a little bit. Here's another look at Bash off like a jet look. This isn't even bad. This is just jet read. But jet read where you're pulling, you don't even block the end. You don't have to. You're kind of reading him. If he's inside, you give it. If he goes outside, now you follow the puller. You see the numbers you have here in the run game. Right, he goes inside. You see how he kind of just rips through here, Dustin Hall. Just rips through there. He's looking for the next level there. And you got the ball in his hands. Ford actually makes a pretty good tackle here. And if Chris Carter is able to make this block, this thing might score. But still good play nonetheless. And you kind of see all the different ways they're getting to this read game. They've done it where he's lined up in the backfield and it's Bash. So the back's going one way, the line's going the other way. This one is jet read. It's like power read. It's like they're mixing a lot of stuff that's hard. And right here is just straight up regular old zone read. Right here, the read's cloudy. He just keeps it. Good job by the back, just kind of getting through the hole and blocking for the quarterback. Good hard run. The ref doesn't know what to do. He has no fast twitch muscle in his entire body. So he's just trying not to get hurt.
I thought he was going to help USF there. I thought he was going to take out the tackler, but
like
good by the UF defender to get around it.
Yeah. He almost got sandwich legged up there. And then this is a great call. Toss Reed again. If this guy's not a closer, well, they put him in a lot of conflict here. Jet motion, get these guys flowing one way. Toss Reed, get these guys flowing one way. He doesn't know what to do. He closes, then he doesn't close, and then you got two guys pulling. So it's really like quarterback counter off the jet, and this is almost like a dummy fake. Kick out, wrap. Thank you very much. Full head of steam to tackle that dude who's a big dude. Yeah. So really cool play design. Had Florida out of sorts. So you see it's like motion this way, run that way, pulling the guys this way, a fake toss. It's a lot of things happening for a defense very quickly. And when you have a guy that can be like a downhill battering ram, that's really tough. Now here's a fun one. Motion him in. He obviously goes back behind the quarterback, so you have a backwards pass. In, out. Florida has no clue what to do here. Both these guys jump because, I mean, the ball's thrown. This is hard. This is a hard temptation to resist, right? If it's a 2-point play, the guy's got to get here. I'm not going to like sit back in my zone really and wait for him. You know, in my eyes, they've thrown it. Great job. Rocky's jacked up. He's excited. Good sell here by Weaver. You see the kind of the hop, skip, and a jump here by him. As soon as what you can see here, as soon as he sees him kind of trigger, he's full speed. Watch this. Boop. Thank you. And a really, really cool play design.
Yep, and they kind of showed something similar earlier in the game. That Sean Atkins had the wherewithal to not throw and was able to pick up 3 yards. So that was impressive that they even pulled something like that out of their hat, so soon after. So good play design, great execution all around. Top-notch throw by Sean Atkins.
Yeah, really, really cool stuff. So now you got a fake toss into the boundary. You've been eating it up all night. Good job by Bohannon getting depth here. And then you just throwing the hitch out here. You're just trying to pick up some good yardage on first down, or throwing the out rather. Easy money, on time and on target. Good catch. Even though the defender's right there, you still pick up a good gain on first down. Shift. Toss Reed again. And it's tough to stop because I think Bohannon is not just like a physical runner. I think he's a really good runner in terms of understanding his blocking and understanding like I need to cut this thing back. So right here, I'm reading here, he widens like crazy. Thank you. Linebackers over the top like crazy. He sees this push right here. Watch this cut back behind that block. That's a great cut right there. You know, a worse runner would have just made this cut right here and probably run right in the linebacker. He kind of sees it, presses it, gets behind this next one. And now you're picking up 9 or 10 on first down. 3rd and 1. This is probably the only one he missed all night. I thought this was the only one he missed. And it's tough because technically, right, he thinks he's reading here because he's outside, but this is one he probably would like to have back. Because you could really read him as the end because he's basically head up. So if you read him as the end, and now you have that coming around, right? You'd have that for that and Bohannon with the ball. That's kind of what you want. But by the letter of the law, he's the end man. He stays engaged here. That's a give read. But you've got to watch for this, right? I think the blitz probably changes it. Consider him on the line of scrimmage, so now read him.
And so looking ahead to Saturday, Louisville plays Okie. They have a lot of overhangs. Is this something that may muddy or cloud the read game for Gary?
Well, that's probably something they'll – I think if that's their consistent front because that's what Jeff Scott mentioned in the thing in his presser this week, that front. So they're practicing against that front consistently. This is kind of a different look, I'd imagine, where he's kind of blitzing from depth. And this is not something we've seen them run a lot in game either. This jet read, we haven't seen a ton of that in game. So that could be a newer scheme for them as well, where, okay, now I see the reps against the normal looks. Now, okay, now I'm getting better at it. I see what the reps will look like from different blitz looks and things like that. But Dukes does a good job here of not taking like a 5-yard loss, getting upfield and turning it to no gain or just about. And he puts you in a 4th and 1. And you basically do. This is a great read, I think, by Bohannon, because it's bash, but it's really bash to here. He kind of sees the alley and goes straight ahead. So, right, this guy widens. Technically, right, the play, you see the blocking, it's all happening here. But good job of sealing this off on the backside. And now he's able to kind of slip out here. But, you know, Florida thinking, okay, we finally played it all right. We've got a guy for each guy, but you're one-on-one. You got to win the one-on-one. Bohannon wins the one-on-one, gets just enough for the first down, keeps the drive going. And here's this a similar screen to the one they ran in the first quarter, this time off jet motion. And I don't know why Florida has no flat player. It goes back into the boundary as well. And you see just letting the receiver get that full head of steam. Same screen as the first one they called, pretty much. A little bit different wrinkle on how to get to it, but same scheme in terms of the screen. And that one went for, you know, that one was fumbled and they played it really well. Here they don't play it well. You got them thinking they're coming up field, and now you pick up 11 or you pick up 13 on 2nd and 12. RPO. You're running the ball pretty good. They start to fill. Thank you very much.
And this was something Tate Rodemaker and Florida State took advantage of all week. Last week when the Seminoles played Louisville. Be mindful of this, folks, as you're kind of going into Saturday. I think we may see a little bit more of this. Because of how smart he is with at least the running aspect of the read option, being able to add that wrinkle of being able to hit the backside slant on that is just going to kind of open up the offense a little bit more and create those little, gash plays that, you break one tackle and now instead of a 5-yard gain, it's a 15-yard gain, or instead of a 10-yard gain, it's a 35-yard gain. So that's going to be an exciting wrinkle to watch this weekend because, folks, Louisville's defense is horrendous.
Yeah, they're not great, and they struggled with that scheme. Now, sometimes you wonder, all right, will that help them because they've kind of seen it already, or is it just they're not good at defending it? Which it looks more like it's that they're just not very good at defending it. At least that's what you're hoping for this week, right? But I think if you can get the run game going like you did last week, then they have to commit bodies, and once they start committing bodies, slip it out, throw it. Be nice and easy. Here's the one I was talking about earlier where you can kind of see Petit. This does not look great at handoff, but he uses patience. It has some good feet and kind of understands where the blocks are coming from, right? I'm sure that's, part of being like a coach's kid, probably playing a lot of football. But he's kind of patient with it, understanding where it's coming, is able to get out of it. And I think he scores here. It looked really close. I think the ball's over, but whatever. They call him down. But this is just great job. Good job up front, right? Now, again, this guy is not closed for Florida worth a darn, but bang, good job. He's starting to try to squeeze it. Good job right there. He squeezes a little bit, but you get enough of him to kick it out. Jennings does a good job getting around here. Big guy kind of navigating some tight space. I mean, watch this. Look at this move right here. Watch his right foot. Nice avoids the legs of his guard. Gets his foot back in the ground. Gets a piece, and that's all Petit needs. Puts a little stutter on, breaks that tackle, gets down to the goal line. So really good play all around. And then they hit him with a little bit of I call it speed reader. They're playing on option, right? Like either I'm the dive guy or the inside guy and I'm the outside guy, or I can fly outside and you become the inside guy, right? They got to figure it out. But USF does something that Oklahoma did, Florida with Mullen used to do, where they initially show inside zone. So the quarterback flashes the ball, makes it look like inside zone to kind of hold this guy inside here. make him think I need to squeeze down. It's just for a second, right? Just for this first part. Right here looks like inside zone. And now you see his back's foot in the ground, and now he's back out. Back out. And now you can't play it. And watch, this is a great catch, right? This is something I did not notice live.
Same, this first time seeing that right here.
Great catch here on that. And then the great dive. And if you haven't seen it, we've got some great pictures up of this.
Yeah. I'm trying to find Morgan on the sideline right now.
But great catch right there. I would think she was back here, right, with her angle.
Yeah.
But great job right there for the touchdown. And then here's Eddie Kelly showing some great athleticism, right? Watch how he kind of matches speed with Richardson really well here. Richardson slows down. He slows down, picks back up. He almost gets him right there at the end, but this is a big dude moving, and he's moving pretty well. That's a really fun sign right there of him able to match speed with that. That's pretty good. Then Florida drives down, looking to take the lead. You just got, it's all out here. It's mano a mano. There's nothing else going on. Everybody else is in the box. That's his option. He can throw to that if he likes it. It's man coverage. He likes it. Great job right here. Being in his hip pocket, getting your eyes back, right? The receiver, as soon as the receiver turns his head, he gets his eyes on the ball, and he just makes the play for it.
If only he wore like a size 7 instead of like a 12.
Yeah, he may have housed this thing. Because you could tell he's even like not sure if he stayed in or not. Because he does kind of a...
He looks down.
He does kind of a leap. But then the teammates are like, keep running. So he keeps going. But he just misses from turning this thing. This was giving me Notre Dame flashbacks here a little bit.
Boy, howdy. Let me tell you, I was thinking about it mightily as he was returning that.
Yeah, so that was interesting. But you get the ball back. Here's the one where I don't know. You tell me.
I mean, I don't know why OD went up with one hand. I'll never understand it because he beat the brakes off this dude at the top of the route.
Yes, watch. He's here, and then whoop, see ya. I mean, it happens very quickly.
Like he knows.
Yeah. And then is it a perfect throw? No, but I think this is one you can catch.
Does he even get a hand on it?
Yeah, he does. I think so. I'm pretty sure he does.
It doesn't. I don't think it moves. I don't think it changes route at all. I think he straight up misses it.
Is it just missed right here?
Yeah.
It looks like it turns a little bit, but this is like the Zapruder film right here. There's the ball right there. Either way, I think if you just like turn your body like you did the first one and just kind of go up and catch it with 2 and toe tap, that's a big play. Obviously, a little bit better throw, but again, this is like, watch, this is a tough throw to throw a wheel route when I'm moving in motion and have guys flying at me. I thought this was catchable. Would have been a big play right there. But again, another great design.
That's Weaver up at the top, just kind of
and then
running his man off.
Yep. He runs the post, holds the safety in the corner. You get exactly what you want. Just can't quite hook it up. But really cool design, really great job here.
And then this is probably the one time where the offensive line just kind of just gets real beat.
Yeah, I think this is like game situation. Okay, at this point in the game, now they could have run, but 3rd and 11, you probably want a first down to get out of here, so you're probably throwing. Florida's ends just kind of pin their ears back and go, which you've been able to take advantage of in the passing game or in the rushing game. But throwing here, they're able to kind of get on you.
I think the outlet to the running back was probably the best bet right there.
If he just throws it right now, but it looks like he may have had the wheel. So I think they're running that mesh again. Him over the ball, and then he's got the wheel. So he's looking, but you've also got him right there. So he's trying to find the problem is he's throwing while jumping backwards. If he's able to kind of just set his feet and throw, this guy's coming flat across. So it's tough. I think Chaffee Brown does a pretty good job just getting hands on it because it looks like it's getting picked either way. because I think on its current trajectory, it looks like it's just going to be right there. He gets hands on it. Maybe he could have caught it. I don't know. It looks there like it's kind of through the middle, but that's a tough catch still.
Like you can tell I think it's
hot.
just an out of body, like, the frame
just
of
missed.
like,
Yeah. But this is one. It's like you're winning. Just throw it out of bounds, bro. We're cool with punting with how our defense is playing this half.
Right.
That's when you just got to throw out of bounds. You don't have to make every play. He made a ton of plays in this game, but that's when you just got to. No, we're good with that. You can just don't worry about it. So right here, then you get the ball back. You move it a little bit. 3rd and 10. I thought this was a big play. It's really just one-on-one out here. The Florida defensive back tries to undercut, and he's not quite fast enough. Puts it on him. Good run after catch. You pick up 20 on 3rd and 10, and then from there we kind of know what happens. You get to the bad snap and the field goal, and that's kind of that. But that was, there's a lot of good stuff in there. Right. A lot of interesting schemes, and you saw that Florida is just they didn't know what was
They're
going on.
A lot further away than I think a lot of people thought after that Utah game.
Well, I think USF's plan really gave them a lot of problems. Which one, Frozen, are you asking about for the read progression? The mesh? You kind of
I think it was on the interception there.
Yeah, you go. I think if you're working the running back wheel side, you probably go running back wheel to the shallow to the over the ball. It could be it. Some guys, yeah. I think you go wheel to shallow to the stop over the ball, and that kind of keeps it all in one area.
But usually the play got kind of blown up. Now
you have to rush, and he's thinking, okay, I got the shallow coming. Let me find it and hit it. If I get out of my hands, I know he's open. Right, because he probably saw the wheel got covered, so he knows the shallow's open, which is the same, right? The same idea as what happened when Weaver picks the guy earlier. Tight end ran the wheel. You had the shallow we saw was wide open, so he's probably thinking, I've got that shallow, but he's not able to step in and throw because of the pressure. It sails on him, and it gets picked. Right. But I think it's the right decision.
I think it was, Chris Carter was coming over the middle. I think he was the guy over the ball. Not even in Madden, you're making that throw.
Yeah, it is kind of strange that Horn's good enough to run the jet, like fakes full speed, but not good enough to hand in one. Maybe they just did not want. Maybe there's just a true decoy.
I mean, you're just running, sideline to sideline. You're not really
just true, not cutting and not getting contact on it.
So we'll see how it is. That the coach did say this week that he hadn't practiced until Friday of the game, yeah. So maybe be a little cautious. I think if he's good to go, that we'll see a little bit more out of him this week. I do worry about turf. I'm weird about turf and ankles, especially after that. I mean, to be fair, the field at Legion Field there in the Birmingham Bowl is terrible. Like, it was just god awful, but it cost Rodney Adams a good chunk of training time after that game. He missed most of the game because the carpet monster got him. So that's what I worry about. I've never really liked turf fields. They look cool, but no. I feel like
it's the Jimmy thing is weird because they did have him running. It's not like it was all jets. They had him running routes too, where he had to. I would assume he has to plant, but we'd have to go back and watch. Did he run all of his routes from one side, so he had to plant off the same foot every time, and it was not his bad foot? I don't know that. That could be a possibility, but I think, like you said, you're kind of hoping if that's what you had to do, because I think just his presence was enough of a distraction for Florida that kind of helps open up the 4th and 1 play, helps open up a couple other things.
Yeah,
if you can kind of get through the game with him on that, then and get him healthy for conference play, you're probably happy.
Yeah, and then with Yates, he went out early-ish in the game, so he played a little bit.
Yeah, he recorded a stat, so he played,
and then got hurt, and then that's when Jatorian Hansford kind of came in, and Nick Baggs got a lot of run. So healthier than they've been in a little bit. They'll be without Daquan Evans. They'll be without Brian Norris, who tore his ACL and he had surgery on Thursday. Who else? Christian Williams should be back. Jimmy Horn.
They didn't really give a definitive.
Okay. Yeah, Jaron Mangum, I would assume we'll probably give it a go, see how he feels with warm-ups.
I'm assuming, did you say Joe? I'm assuming he's out.
Joe's out for an extended time. Pulled groin. Kelly Joyner is still not quite ready. I think we may be closing in on maybe ECU or Cincinnati. I would venture that guess, maybe at the latest Tulane, because we're right around that month and a half, 2 month mark of the initial injury. So we're getting closer to him coming back. See if we can get him up to game speed. But other than that, they're healthy-ish. So that's about it. Yeah, it was fun stuff. I appreciate everybody tuning in. So we'll post it on Twitter, on Saturday and Friday and whatnot. But Seth and I, for the folks who are in here, Seth and I will do a pregame show Saturday morning before the game. We will do a halftime show during the game, and then we'll likely do a post-game show. I may be on the road heading to Tropicana Field for the Rays game. So we will definitely do one. I just may be in the car on the way to the game doing said post-game show. But yes, we'll have all the coverage that we can provide from the comfort of our houses, because who wants to go to Louisville? Honestly, who wants to go to any of the road trips this year? They're kind of ass. Like Gainesville was fun. Got that out of our system.
You don't want to go to Tulsa?
No, I'm good, man. I'm good.
I wouldn't mind going out there, but the tornado thing, not for me. Give me a hurricane I can plan for.
And I'm fairly certain there's not like an airport, so you have to like drive to Tulsa.
That'd be interesting. Do the whole thing from the car? We could.
So
yeah, pregame show. We'll probably have more injury news by then. It'll start to leak out a little bit, and we'll kind of give you the latest in injury news before the game. Anything that's come out kind of closer to the game, and kind of give you some stats and numbers to look at like we do on Tuesdays, but just once again right before. So we'll kind of see and give you what we hear from boots on the ground, because there are some people that will be in attendance there. So tune in. We'll probably put out what time it's going to be. I don't think we've decided exactly yet.
Nope.
So we'll put out what time. It could be 30 minutes before the game, an hour before the game. We've kind of done it different times in the past, and then the halftime show, we'll try to get some clips up. We'll see how that goes. We've been able to sometimes in the past, other times not quite as much. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll try.
We'll do our best. Night games at Louisville are pretty fun. I would say that. Nooners.
I would guess after last week it's not going to be raucous at a noon game, because I think I think a lot of Louisville fans would not be upset if they lost and the coach got fired. It seems like they're kind of out on the coach. Like, so.
And I'll have with Cards Chronicle, they are the Louisville SB Nation site. My answers to their questions went up this week on I think they went up on Thursday. I will post their answers to the questions I asked, and we'll go down memory lane in 2005 for a little bit with them. So it'll be a lot of fun. Make sure you guys check that out. Check out all the stuff. I'm actually going to be writing the game preview here shortly, and have fun. Be safe. Enjoy yourselves. Enjoy the weekend. For Seth and Nathan, this has been another actual fun edition.
Actually fun, yes.
The Daily Stampede Film Room. Go Bulls.